Hello, this is Stanley Peterson again. It's September 29th, 2011. I believe again it's a Friday. It's a Friday, and I'm here at my apartment at 2848 Jefferson Street, apartment 102, Carlsbad, California. I've been looking through all this paperwork, and I'm telling you, it's just mind-boggling. I think I'm going to have to write a book on this case because it's so dramatic and it's so powerful and it has so much substance in it that I have to put it down on pen. I remember my mother telling me that the pen is mightier than the sword, and I believe that. But anyway, the story is, it's really a kind of a love story, my love story for Patricia. Her name was Griffin. And this is when she was about 17, 18 years old, and we went around the same circles, but we never met each other. It's so amazing. But anyway, it's a story about her, and I just wanted to show you a picture of how she looked at her peak. I'm going to take it off the wall because it shows her and I at a time in our life when we deeply loved each other, and we had, you know, just like any other married couple, we had problems. But this is a story about her. This is how she looked to me, and I always loved her. And nobody would get in between us. So that's the picture of that, and then I will show you how she looked while at about the time she had dementia, and the court should have recognized this. Because she wasn't herself. She had an IQ of 150, I believe. She was a smart and vibrant woman, and I loved her for that. But she ended up dying, and she ended up here at Fort Rosecrans. So this is a picture of that. But this is a story, really a story about her, and the credit to her. And I'm only a messenger. I'm just sending you what I think happened. I don't think it happened. I know it happened because I was there. And why the court never recognized the fact that I had her power of attorney, and I also had power of health care. But what I want to tell you today, the court doesn't even pay any attention to that. I mean, what does that stand? What is that? We gotta, when this case came up, what I talked to you about previously, is the fact that I know the connections between the arbitrator, court-appointed arbitrator, and the defense attorney. There's a connection there. I should have known that. That's called disclosure. And I've got paperwork here pointing it out, that that arbitrator should have looked both Pat and I in the eye and say, I'm a friend and I know this guy, but he never did. There's where the problem comes in. And he ruled against us. He wiped us out for thousands of dollars, these attorneys. And that's what I'm going to drive at. And they know I know the truth. So I'm thinking I got to write it in a written form. I got to get help. I'll do that. But here's some of the names that I've thought about uh, for the title of my book. Essence of Greed, okay. The Collaborators, The Fix, The Click, The Faces of the Court, The Brats, and I'm open to any suggestions that you have. You can call me on 760-730-9080, or you can email me at peterson.stan@att.net. But another thing I'm thinking about, I'm going to go to the bank and go to the experts, is setting up a trust, some sort of a vehicle where people can donate money so I can get this out in, I would like it in a movie form, really showing San Diego County civil court system. That's what I want to do. I want to show everybody out there, and the dynamics of this drama will be this case and what they did to my wife, from like that picture before to where she ended up. And here it is again. This is how she looked during that time. Here's how she looked, just to remind you how she looked at the prime of her life. And her business was stolen away from her. The courts were just, I mean, Bonnie DeMonis is only the figurehead that I went after because she failed to investigate. But by God, as long as I have life in my being, like I said before, I'm going to get this story out to the people. And it seems like corruption seems to be the earmark of everything that's going on today. And I'm not used to that. I was born in the 30s and 40s, and we didn't have stuff like that. But corruption, look at our federal government, corruption. Look at Chicago, corruption. You look at the Pentagon, corruption. Everything is corruption nowadays, and we better change our way of doing things, or we're going to be in deep trouble. And I'm coming from the 30s and 40s. I'm not coming from the 60s. And there's a lot of questions that I have in regards to the 60s. Why did the defense attorney and the arbitrator, how did they get out of the draft during the 60s to go to Vietnam? That's a good question. I have so many questions. But what I'm looking at right now, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that this is a story of abuse. And the abuse comes from our civil legal system of San Diego County. And who's supposed to take charge of that and do something about it? Bonnie DeMonis. And she's a Republican, supposedly. That's the reason I don't like these titles, and I don't like Republicans backing people or the Democrats that are really not the candidates that they should have. They should have some honesty. But this story is going to be really good. I was thinking about the 7 deadly sins. How many things we could take out of that would be interesting. But I've got notes. I've got everything in order here. But it's going to make a beautiful story. So the thing is, today is Friday, October 29th, 2011. This is Stanley Peterson again, and I'm going to sign off for now. But I've got to get my act together and get it in the book form. Get help on it. So if you're willing to help in this expedition, you're more than glad to, I'm gonna give you further updates on this, but that's the course that I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna name names. I've decided, what the heck, when people do something and they represent themselves as such, they should be named. And this is going to go very deep. And it's not, and if anyone out there is a coward, then don't join in this expedition, because this is going to be like a Lewis and Clark expedition to the west. But I'm going into the courtroom and the courts. And I've gotten information on the criminal side. My gosh, I don't know how anybody could run for office letting a criminal out in down there in that college, and the district attorney's office. Somebody called me on that and reminded me of the miscarriage of justice that went on there. Somebody getting murdered. That is, I mean, that's worse than my case. But I mean, how can people live with their conscience? Or don't they have a conscience? Are they so full of greed and what's the word I'm looking for? I'm always looking for words, so I have to look at my notes. But anyway, things are getting so bad, people, that we got to expose these people and get them out in the sun and tell them, you know, this is wrong. There's a right way to do things and there's a wrong way to do things. And we're getting sick and tired of the wrong way. We're going down a path that leads to destruction. And if you don't realize that, and if the courts don't realize it, my God, where in the hell are we going? Is our day up in this country? Are reasonable people afraid to talk? Is that what we become? A bunch of robots? Well, I'm not a robot. And like I said in my previous filmings, is the fact that I'm going to be 81 years old. And I'm not going to let bullies, and that's what they are, because I had to fight them all my damn life, bullies in the courtroom, in the judicial system, get away with their shenanigans. And I've said that before too. So ladies and gentlemen, if you've got a heart, join this expedition. And I'll give you further instructions as I go along. This is, again, Stanley Peterson, and you have a great day. See you later. Bye. This is Jacobson, 976 in Carlsbad, California. Thank you.